Okay, so I got those little dudes in there, and yeah, it's a little bright there. A little bit of a glare at times, the way we're shooting this. Anyways, this is just gonna take a few drops. Black. All right, I can tell right away that I was up at about 20 pounds. I'm gonna go down to 10 pounds for this. And one of the biggest tricks here is stay light on the first coats. You are just literally going to dust. You're just dusting. You will be tempted to go further than that, but don't do it. Now the reason is that plastic is very slippery and smooth. These paints, as soon as you get a little bit too heavy, you are pushing liquid paint across towards the liquid mask and creating a buildup along the edge of the liquid mask. That makes it hard when you go to peel it off. Your detail is going to get a little bit different. So I like to start with the first few coats, literally so light that it's a little bit more than just random speckles on there. I almost consider it to be like a primer. It gives it a chance to really kind of, I don't know, there's something about it that just makes the following coats grip on a little bit better, in my opinion, than if you put it on so heavy that it starts to, create almost like a drip. A wave of paint kind of sloshing across the tiny line. And you got to remember, we're working with some really small areas here anyways. So now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just open my fluid nozzle a little bit more. Start filling that in a little bit heavier. And yeah, right now, all right, I'm at 9 pounds, so I just adjusted to like 11. All right, I was a little low at 9. Which can be really good if the paint is super thin and you're like shading fluorescence or something that I'm actually gonna thin down a little bit more than black. I would say black and white, I generally, unless I'm, mixing up something for some really super soft shading, I thin black and white a little bit less than some of the colors. Because you're looking for a stronger coverage anyways with the non-colors. All right, go over it again. And all of this stuff is a matter of multiple coats. Multiple coats, I would say I had those 2 or 3 very faint coats. Now I put 2 coats on where I almost got like complete coverage of the lines there now. And this is why you always want to do all your cutting first, because some of that stuff starts to disappear as you're painting. So this skull is actually, this is starting to take some shape here. I've already gone through some of the details, the teeth and whatnot. All right, but so. The next thing I'm going to do is shade with black. So now what I want to do is, anything that would be behind. So in other words, I'm working from the back of the drawing to the front. So in essence, like a little a crossbone like that, in this drawing is behind the skull. So right in this area here, I'm going to shade and give it a little bit of depth. So I can do that on all 4 of those areas. And let's see, another area I can do would be, there's a crack in the skull and it kind of is the side of the cranium. So that's a shade area. So I'm going to pull that back a little bit and just kind of rip off a little piece. And then when you're shading, you want to make sure you stay away from where you just kind of pulled that off, or at least I do anyways, on this skull. This is a design that back in the day somebody said it looks like a freaking alien, so I've always called it the alien skull. And then I'm going to wait to pull this upper jaw area there, and I'm going to do a little quick shade, and it does not take much. Now I'm going to test. What I'll do is I'll just go right to my body, and I'll kind of get a feel for how it's shooting. And one thing when you're shading is just like with when you're filling in the lines, start light. Don't immediately think you're going to go to getting by this in one or two passes. You want to get that area kind of primed, and you're doing the bigger, lighter part of the shading at this point. Now that's so light on there, that's almost dry. So I'm going to test my brush again up here. Okay. Go around the outside of the skull a little bit, just to give it a little depth and shading there. Okay, yeah, I can see in the angle that these bones are pretty dry, so okay, that's pretty cool. So from there, I'm going to go to the bottom part of the jaw here so that I can shade the upper portion of that. Test. I'm kind of using the white of my work towel in the background here to provide me a little bit of brightness so I can see just how much black I'm shooting on there. All right, I got a little, so I'm going to pull back real big and real fast a couple times and then go back to shading. I just opened up my tip. Now it's really shot good, and I got a little bit heavy, but that particular spot is okay. So look at that. So that skull there is mostly shaded, and now I am pulling this bigger part off here. And at this point I can get in there with my finger. I need to put that down, right? Alright, a little tweezer. Yeah. got a straggler. All right, pretty cool. All right, so I just grabbed the little scrap of some notebook paper, and you can kind of see the shading. But now I have to, the bigger part of the skull that I just pulled off, I'm gonna shade around the top of the skull and do a little bit more shading on this. That's actually turned out pretty cool. All right. You can see. All right, so now I give my gun a couple of nice pulls there, all the way back. Test. I'm trying to get my bearings here on the. Seems like when I'm doing these videos, I'm always in an awkward position. Now I'm going to go down here, same thing. A little depth to the areas of the jaw here. And as you can see, I'm just barely hitting that. This is where the Iwata really shines on this detail stuff. I probably have this black paint at about a 50-50 mix. I'm going to start using, when I need a new black, I'm going to go and start using the Createx reducer. But right now I've really just used water for years with the fast color. I know other guys have told me they've used alcohol, which I think butyl alcohol is about the same as what's in that Createx container. And I've heard guys say Windex. I'm not a, I've heard that and I've seen what guys have done, and it looks fine. I don't know. I would be afraid to do too much of that. I just can't see adding a soap to it really helping out that much. All right, so there we go. There's a few little things left to do, but I'm gonna go ahead and blow a little bit of like a gray color on there, and then back it with white.